Mikel Arteta issues a major red alert, warning Arsenal about their upcoming clash with Porto in the Champions League. And a renowned journalist launches harsh criticism at Arsenal's main striker, stating that his stay at the club is in doubt. He's no longer needed. Stay with me until the end of the video to understand everything that's happening right now at the Emirates Stadium. But before that, if you're also passionate about Arsenal, subscribe to our channel right now to stay informed about everything happening behind the scenes of the greatest team in the Premier League. And without further ado, let's get into today's top news. Mikel Arteta has now sent a warning to his Arsenal players what they cannot afford to take their upcoming Champions League opponents Porto lightly. Arsenal will travel to Portugal to take on Porto in the first leg of their Champions League round of 16 tie on Wednesday. The Gunners will be heavy favourites heading into this clash with the Portuguese giants. However, the North London outfit cannot afford to show any complacency if they are to return to the Emirates Stadium with a positive first leg result in tow. Mikel Arteta may well take this opportunity to rotate his starting 11 to some extent, but in general it is safe to assume that the Spanish coach will still pick a very strong team for this match. Arsenal certainly ought to be taking the Champions League seriously this season. It has even been suggested that Arsenal stand a better chance of winning the Champions League this season than they do the Premier League. Of course, the Gunners have never triumphed in Europe's elite club competition before. The closest they came was in 2006, when Arsene Wenger's side lost in the final against Barcelona. If Arteta were able to guide Arsenal to glory in the competition this season, then his legacy at the club would be immediately assured. There are good reasons for Arsenal to take the threat that Porto pose seriously. Arteta has now made it clear that his players must expect a difficult evening on Wednesday. Speaking in his press conference ahead of the match, as quoted by the club's official website, the manager said, "Obviously we want to dominate the game and play in the opponent's half as much as possible. I think the threat, the purpose, the activity and the connections of the players at the moment is flowing and they really want it. We have momentum now and we have to maintain it. Now we leave the Premier League and go to Porto. We know it's going to be a really tough environment and game to play again, and we just need to prepare well to go again and be ourselves." Arsenal certainly do have momentum on their side at this time. The North London club have won their last 5 Premier League matches on the bounce, including a landmark victory over Liverpool, and 6-0 and 5-0 wins against West Ham United and Burnley, respectively, in their last 2 outings. If they can replicate anything like those scoring feats in Portugal, then Arsenal can have this last 16 matchup all but wrapped up in the first leg. Arsenal should not be expecting an easy ride of things in Portugal, though, and first and foremost they will need to ensure that they are defensively solid. Gary Lineker is now not convinced that Gabriel Jesus will automatically return to the Arsenal starting 11 once he is back to full fitness. When fit, Gabriel Jesus is the first-choice striker at Arsenal. However, in the Brazilian forward's current absence, the Gunners have gone to a new level in terms of goal scoring. Without the former Manchester City man on the pitch, Arsenal have scored 14 goals across their last 3 Premier League matches, and have only conceded once in that time. First, Mikel Arteta's men recorded a landmark 3-1 win over Liverpool. Arsenal then managed a record-breaking 6-0 victory against West Ham United at the London Stadium. Last time out, the North London club thrashed Burnley 5-0. Against West Ham and Burnley, Leandro Trossard was named in the starting 11, and was tasked with leading the line, at least in a nominal sense. The Belgian was able to get on the scoresheet in both fixtures, but he has been operating as a false 9, rather than as an out-and-out striker. This has allowed him to regularly rotate and interchange his position with Kai Havertz, and the pair have struck up an effective on-field relationship. The connection between Havertz and Trossard has raised questions about what Arteta needs from a striker. It has also cast doubt over Jesus' place in the Arsenal pecking order. Is Gabriel Jesus still the first-choice Arsenal striker? Speaking on the Rest is Football podcast, former England and Barcelona striker Gary Lineker said, "Jesus has been out injured, hasn't he? It's questionable now where and whether he'd get back in. I thought as well, Havertz is contributing as well. Jesus has already been warned that his place at Arsenal is under threat due to the recent form of Trossard. What's more, even prior to his injury, there have been concerns about the striker and his lack of goals. Arsenal have been heavily linked with a number of potential replacements for Jesus. The 26-year-old is undeniably a supremely talented player, who brings flair, pressing energy, and smart link-up play to the team. However, his wastefulness in front of goal is a problem, and now, it seems as though Arteta may well have found a system which brings the best out of Arsenal from an attacking standpoint, and Jesus is not involved. That is not to say that Jesus' absence is the reason for Arsenal's recent goal glut, but it shows that the Gunners can thrive in the final third without his presence, which may mean that he struggles to retake his place at the top of the pecking order once he is cleared to return to action. Journalist Charles Watts believes that Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta now faces a tough selection dilemma due to the good recent form of Yakobkiir. Yakobkiir has certainly impressed for Arsenal in recent weeks. With Alexander Zinchenko and Takahiro Tomiyasu both sidelined by injury, Mikel Arteta has had to call upon Kiwior to start at left-back in each of Arsenal's last 2 matches. The Polish defender is a centre-back by trade, but has been required to fill in at left-back on numerous occasions in his Arsenal career. In the past, this has meant that the 24-year-old has been tasked with replicating the inverted fashion of playing the position that Zinchenko excels at. When the Ukrainian is fit and in the team, he habitually drifts into the middle of the park to bolster the midfield unit, rather than push forward up the touchline, staying wide, in the more traditional and orthodox manner for a full-back. By coming inside, into the midfield zone, Zinchenko achieves 2 things. First, he attracts an opposition defender with him, leaving more space for the left winger, usually Gabriel Martinelli, on the flank. The former Manchester City man is also able to get on the ball more himself, which when his supreme technical ability comes into play, as he is able to become an auxiliary playmaker of sorts for Arsenal. Kiwior cannot do this. It is a ploy that has been tried in the past, and the £20 million former Spezia man never looked comfortable in his attempts to follow these tactical instructions. As such, Arteta has now tried something new. How Mikel Arteta has managed to make Arsenal thrive with Yakobkiir at the back. With Kiwior at left-back, the Arsenal right-back Ben White has now been handed the responsibility of playing this inverted role, and the change has worked wonders. In their last 2 matches, the Gunners have scored 11 goals without reply. Bukayo Saka has struck 4 of those goals, notching up back-to-back braces in the Premier League. Allowing White to move into the midfield area when Arsenal are in a build-up phase of play has created space for Saka, and the right winger has exploited it mercilessly. The defender is also comfortable enough in possession to thrive in central areas. Arteta has been told that he has Marcelo Bielsa to thank for White's ability to do this, as he made the player train as a midfielder in his time at Leeds United. Charles Watts now wonders if this is a system that will remain in place for the long term, with Kiwior in the team. Speaking on his Inside Arsenal YouTube platform, the reporter said, "It will be interesting to see what happens when Zinchenko gets back fit, when Tomiyasu gets back fit. Does he take Kiwior out the side? I mean, I think that says a lot about how well Kiwior is playing. The biggest compliment you can pay him at the moment is that it is probably not a foregone conclusion right now, that when those players get fit that they walk straight back into the side, such is the form of Yakobkiir." Well, folks, those were today's news. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay informed about everything happening with our beloved team, you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel now and hit the bell so you won't miss any updates. Thanks for joining us, and see you in the next video.